Welcome back to Ready, Set, Sold. I'm your host, Bryan Vogt. Thanks for staying with us. We really appreciate it. Happy Mardi Gras. Yes. As I mentioned in the first segment, I have been down to Mardi Gras on more than a few occasions and had a lot of fun. I mean, it just is. I mean, the people, it's a free spirit, and good for them. It's just a free spirit, and some of the outfits are pretty wild, but hey, it's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with enjoying yourself, shall we say. I want to kind of pick up where we're at from the last segment, and we talked about stories about the why you should be doing the improvements, the updates, why the importance of it. And we talked about, again, a starter house, $120,000, $100,000 between there, starter house for what most would be for a first-time home buyer. They didn't do the things, even though they had the monies, even though they kind of knew, I guess, down deep that they maybe should have. They didn't. In the end, it cost them bookoo bucks. I don't know, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. However, that's on what we call a starter house. When I say starter house, first-time home, which are great, first-time home buyer house. Quick story about a much higher-end home. This happened to be in O'Fallon, Illinois also, and the home was right around $400,000. This issue was they had the carpeting, they had done the painting, but the kitchens and bathrooms, even though the funds were readily available, they just wouldn't do it. Now, the home was worth probably between $375,000 and $400,000, so they were great with the location. I think I mentioned that the last segment. So they priced it right for the location. However, the kitchen and bathrooms needed some help. How much help? Probably not near as much as they thought. The cabinets were in great shape. It did need some flooring. It did need some painting in those kitchens. There's some countertops that could have been replaced. All in all, the bathrooms, everything included, maybe $15,000, maybe $20,000. But again, remember the price range that we're in. Another situation, they had the monies, they had the capabilities. That wasn't the issue. The issue is that they said, you know what, we're going to run the gamut. A buyer will buy this home. And it doesn't mean it will never happen. Okay, I'm not saying it will never happen, but boy, it is very, 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 less likely for it to happen. It's kind of that slim and none situation. So what they did is they put it on the market, they waited. They dropped the price down to $375,000. Nothing. Finally, literally, they stayed the course. I won't even talk about the money because I think their payments were almost $3,000 to $4,000 a month. After 10 months on the market, 10 months, they finally got an offer for about, they bickered back and forth, and they got it to like $320,000. $320,000, take 10 months, $4,000, $40,000, potentially $400,000 house. We're talking $120,000 for a $15,000 to $20,000 fix. Remember, everything has to be relative. That's what happened. And not only that, and again, the pain, the anguish, the problems, everything that finally happened during them, that the money was important, but many times, as I mentioned before, sellers are just spent. I mean, they're just spent, and you don't want that to happen to you. That's why updating is so, so important. So can I give you the why? So let's just talk about that. We talked about location. Remember, even if you price it for the location, chances are you're still going to have these issues. So once we've established your location, let's start looking at the three things that you can do. And the first thing that we want to talk about, and this doesn't have to be in order, is painting. Rule of thumb with painting is stay neutral. Beige, tans, very light browns, grays, I know are popular. Just so you know, though, grays can turn blue. Okay? That might not be the direction you want to go, especially in different lighting, different times of the day. so they can look more blue, and that may not be the best option, especially if it's the living room. We've seen that happen a few times. So again, stick with the basics. Decide if you want to do it yourself, or if it's more important to get a professional in there. That's kind of a 50-50 split. You can take the paint, whatever color you have. Again, rule of thumb, 3 to 7 years. After 3 to 7 years, you're probably going to need painting. So once you've established that, you need to get the painting, you can run that same color throughout the entire house. It's okay. It really is. So it's not a situation where you have to sit there and say, well, what color for this house? What, not for this house, what for this room or bedroom or bathroom. Sellers have done it. It has turned out beautiful, and they have had great success with that on more than a few occasions. So again, just because you're using it in your kitchen doesn't mean you can't use it in your living room. That's why the importance of neutral becomes so important. So painting is, and quite frankly, painting, if you look upon it, there's 4 walls to every room. So your surface area, the most people are going to see is paint, is the paint. And if your home happens to be vacant, well, I guarantee you that's about all they got to look at in the living rooms and in even the dining rooms or even bedrooms and what have you. There just isn't much to look at. The kitchens and bathrooms, at least there's other things that they can view on. But other than that, so that there isn't much to look at. That's why it can be so important to look at your painting, get that taken care of, talk with your agent, decide, again, what you want to do, how you want to do it. I see more and more people going with the professionals just for timing, taking advantage of the market, catching the market while it's still going strong. That usually is a big time saver. I think I've talked stories about people that want to do it themselves. That's okay. It really is. Every situation is different. But you have to be careful if you're going to be a month or 2 months out. Normally that doesn't happen, but we've had sellers do that. So that's why it's never a bad idea to talk to a professional, talk to your agent, see who do they know. Maybe you know someone already, that's even better. And see what that cost is and see the timing of it too, because that's the other part, as I just mentioned, the timing of it, of you being able to do it. Because, look, we live such busy lives, most of us, with our phones, our phones, our emails. I was talking to a friend the other day, and your phone is your email, is your texting, is everything. And we tend not to be able to get around it. Back in the day, not to date myself too much, but back in the day, you didn't have that phone. When you left work, you were kind of gone. They couldn't get a hold of you. Now, not so much. So again, we live very hectic lives. So always think about the professionals as a strong possibility. Hey, we're running out of time. We'll be talking in the next segment more about flooring. So stay tuned for that. You listen to Ready, Set, Sold. I'm your host, Bryan Vogt. We'll be back in a few.
Me and my baby, we're all going crazy, bug jumping and having fun. Down in the tramway, it's me and my baby, we're all going crazy, bug jumping